For more than 3 years, the disappearance of little Summer Wells has haunted Tennessee and puzzled the world. Her name is whispered in homes, debated online, and remembered in vigils, yet the truth still hides in shadows no one wants to face. I've been digging through timelines, sifting through statements, and connecting fragments of evidence that most have overlooked, and what I've found could completely change the way you see this case. This isn't just a story, it's a puzzle, and every piece matters. The deeper I go, the clearer it becomes. There are details, inconsistencies, and chilling possibilities that demand to be heard, and that's why I'm here. My name is Agent Tim, and I'm on a mission to uncover the truth, no matter how deep it's buried. But this is bigger than me. The search for Summer is far from over, and it takes all of us. If you care about finding answers, if you believe every missing child deserves to be found, then don't just watch. Take action. Hit that subscribe button right now. Tap the notification bell so you never miss a single update, and share this video with everyone you can. The more eyes and ears we have on this case, the closer we get to finally bringing Summer home.
On a warm summer afternoon in June 2021, in the quiet hills of Hawkins County, Tennessee, a little girl named Summer Wells vanished without a trace. She was just 5 years old, small for her age, with bright eyes, short blonde hair, and the kind of smile that could melt your heart. She was here, and then she wasn't. At first glance, her disappearance seemed like another tragic missing child case, the kind of story that makes the evening news for a week before fading into the background of America's endless true crime history. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into years, strange details began to surface, stories that didn't quite match, statements that shifted from one retelling to the next, and most hauntingly of all, a lie that sounded so true, so believable, that no one questioned it, not at first. Let's go back to that day. It was June 15, 2021. Summer was playing outside near her home in the rural community of Beech Creek. Her family's house was set back from the road, a little rough, a little cluttered, but surrounded by woods and steep hills. If you've never been to this part of Tennessee, picture narrow, winding roads, thick green trees in every direction, and an almost complete silence, except for the sounds of nature, the kind of place where neighbors might be miles apart, and where if a child wandered off, they could be gone before anyone realized. According to her mother, Candace Bly, the day started normally. She and Summer had spent part of the afternoon planting flowers with her grandmother, just a few yards from the house. It was hot that day, the sun beating down through the humid air, and after a while, Summer grew tired. Candace says she walked Summer back into the house, where her brothers were watching TV, and told them to keep an eye on her while she stepped away for a short time. Minutes later, Summer was gone. Candace called her husband, Don Wells, at work. Don says he told her to call 911 immediately, and she did. What followed was one of the largest search operations in Tennessee history. Hundreds of searchers, local police, state troopers, volunteer firefighters, and even the FBI combed through the rugged hills and dense woods. They used helicopters, drones, scent tracking dogs, and infrared cameras. They searched creeks, barns, abandoned houses, and every inch of the surrounding property. But they found nothing. Not a shoe, not a piece of clothing, not a single trace.
At first, the family's stories seemed straightforward. Summer must have wandered off and gotten lost. Or perhaps, in a terrifying possibility, been taken by someone passing through. But as investigators dug deeper, cracks began to appear in the timeline. One of the first strange details came from that flower planting scene. Both Candace and her mother, Summer's grandmother, gave slightly different versions of what happened after the flowers were planted. In one version, Candace went inside with Summer. In another, she stayed outside while Summer walked in alone. And in some retellings, the amount of time between planting flowers and Summer being reported missing seemed blurry. Now, in any missing person case, especially one involving a child, the first statements are often chaotic. People are panicked, adrenaline is high, and memory can get fuzzy. But in this case, the small inconsistencies piled up. And then came the lie, the one that no one questioned for months. The lie was simple, that the family had last seen Summer just minutes before she vanished, safe and sound, in the house. It sounded logical. It sounded believable. After all, what parent would make something like that up? But as investigators began quietly talking to neighbors, family friends, and even the children's school contacts, they learned that some people weren't so sure that was the last time Summer was seen. In fact, there were whispers, unconfirmed but persistent, that Summer may have been missing for longer than anyone admitted. If true, that would mean the first hours of the investigation were built on a false timeline, a lie that shaped the entire search effort. While in 2021, the FBI released a statement confirming the original statements about the last time Summer was seen was not wholly true. This would suggest that the timeline had been tampered with. Meanwhile, the public was watching.
Experts in deception say that lies which sound true often work best when they're rooted in partial truth. Maybe Summer was seen in the house at some point that day, just not as recently as claimed. And maybe that small shift in timing, those missing minutes or hours, holds the key to everything. The problem is, when the first lie goes unnoticed, it becomes the foundation for every other detail. Search teams look in the wrong places. Witnesses try to remember the wrong time frame. And the trail grows colder. Every single day. Today, if you drive past the Wells property, you'll still see signs asking for information. A reward remains on the table, and in the hearts of those who still care, hope flickers even as doubt grows stronger. Because somewhere out there is the truth about what happened to Summer Wells. And until that truth comes to light, we are left with a haunting possibility that the lie which sounded true is the reason no one noticed the truth at all.